Now, Twitter says there are now more than 250 million tweets sent every day, up 177% from last year. But how do companies make sense of all this data? UK-based DataSift is hoping it has the answer. DataSift is one of only 2 companies with a license to access Twitter's fire hose. It lets customers filter Twitter data by more than just a keyword. Its U.S. launch is today, and newly appointed CEO Rob Bailey joins us here in the studio. Welcome to Bloomberg West, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So first of all, I got to ask how you negotiated this deal with Twitter. You would think that Twitter would want to keep this data for themselves. How did you get this deal done?
We have a long-standing relationship with Twitter that was started by our founder, Nick Halstead, and actually predated DataSift, a previous company he started called TweetMeme, which is a very successful sort of news curation service that had to do with Twitter.
Now, Twitter recently cut off some of its third-party developers. You guys obviously depend on this data, right? Are there any concerns that Twitter could just pull the plug?
Well, I'd like to think we actually depend on each other. But I think it's important for any new company in another company's ecosystem to add tremendous value for the owner of that ecosystem in order to achieve its long-term success. So we've built a really powerful platform for curating the immense quantities of data that are produced on Twitter every day, and we make it really easy for companies to use it. So we think as long as we're providing lots of awesome value for Twitter, that we have nothing to worry about.
Give me some examples. What do companies get out of using your technology?
So we have a platform right now, and primarily our customers are social media monitoring companies and more tech-savvy brand management companies, agencies, financial services, et cetera. And what they get out of it really depends on the sector. But I think probably one of the most obvious uses is a really amazing platform for companies to find out what their customers are thinking, what they're buying, what they care about, literally in real time.
Now, this sentiment analysis idea is becoming a big thing, but can you really figure out whether people are happy or sad or want something or don't want something just by analyzing a bunch of tweets?
Well, we're definitely not therapists, but we've partnered with a great company called Let's Analytics that is one of the leading platforms for sentiment analysis on unstructured data. And working with them, we are actually able to do some pretty powerful analysis on things like positive versus negative sentiment. So can we actually categorize the individual sentiment of every single user and exactly how they're feeling every day? Probably not. But if a brand wants to know how their customers are feeling about their brand, about an advertising campaign, about a new product launch, we're able to do that for them with the Lexalytics technology, literally in real time.
Who are your customers, and what kind of surprising things have people learned from using your service?
Well, we just launched officially today, so we will be announcing customers in the next few months. But I think really some of the areas where we've seen a tremendous amount of interest, and we've really been flooded with interest from a variety of sectors, includes social media monitoring companies looking to build their technology on a more powerful platform like ours, financial services, brands, advertising agencies, and even financial services. A real surprise for us has actually been political campaigns that are looking for a more sort of effective way of understanding what voters are thinking about in real time and how they feel about particular issues. And our platform lets political campaigns set up trackers literally in the course of 4 or 5 minutes.
I mean, it's a no-brainer these days, right, that companies should use social media, but they have to use it well, don't they, if they're going to use it?
They have to use it well, and they have to use it for good. So I think it's very important that companies not just start monitoring, but also pose the right questions of the data that they're monitoring and make sure that they also have processes in place to actually act on all the useful conclusions that they have. If a company has just hired a social media monitoring team or has hired a few folks in their company to work with us and put them off in an office and don't listen to them, that company's going to fail. Driving down, I think these days social media information has become so important that if a company's not paying attention to what's being said on sites like Twitter and Facebook, it's sort of like driving down the highway with the blindfold on.
Talking about companies that are challenged and struggling, you used to work at Yahoo in business development. You left 5 years ago. Many others have left since then. When you look at Yahoo today, what do you see?
I see both challenges and opportunities. I mean, obviously, it's a very different competitive landscape than when I left Yahoo 5 years ago. I think, obviously, Google and Facebook have done incredibly well over the last 5 years. Yahoo, not quite as well. I think the biggest opportunity would really be to find a strong leader as soon as possible. There are still amazing people that work at Yahoo, but I wonder how long some of those people will stick around if there isn't some strong leadership put in place.
All right, Rob Bailey, thanks for joining us here on Bloomberg West, and good luck.
Thank you very much.